Oh, yes, indeed. Here we are. We're back. Did you miss me? I'm sure I've missed you more than you missed me. It's Tuesday night, which means it's Musical Hangout, the only program that asks I had to hit record. That asks the philosophical questions such as, if all the manufacturing jobs are moving overseas, then why doesn't everybody who wants a manufacturing job just move overseas? I'm Zach Hval, singer-songwriter, guitar player extraordinaire. On YouTube, links are in the description to my TikToks, the Instagrams, the Spotify, the Yammy Yams, the Planty Plans, all that junk and all that jazz. If you're watching this on Instagram, the only link in my bio is the link to here, to Hangout Times. You know, you miss 1 week and, all hell breaks loose. Jeff Beck dies, which we'll get to him a little later on in the evening. But he died. And then there's that new Velma show on HBO, and I just don't recognize that as Scooby-Doo. It is not in the canon that I support of Scooby-Doo. The two movies are, the two live-action movies that are. I can't vouch for Scoob, haven't seen that yet. But it's just unfortunate that such a beloved icon as Scooby-Doo is being violated. I don't have an issue with you making characters different, different ethnicities and things like that. What bothers me is when you fundamentally alter the character, and what it looks like here is they're just trying to make Velma in charge of everything, and no. Just no. First of all, Linda Cardellini is the only person I want to consider as Velma, because she is probably, next to Dua Lipa, of course, one of the most beautiful women on the planet. Things like that, it's like whenever you got a good thing going with a nice young lady, it's always then that an old girlfriend comes from the past and wants to reconnect. It's kind of like that. Anyways, I got this new guitar here. The John Mayer Silver Sky from PRS, Paul Reed Smith. Turns out this guitar is exactly as good as everybody says it is, which is a very good thing. Okay. So yeah, we're going to put it through its paces here. I mean, there is a demonstration of the instrument on my YouTube channel where it's just me playing. Just me playing the guitar. But I took this to church. 2 church functions, and it withstood the power of the Holy Spirit. And so we're gonna see how it handles a little bit of my own music as well as some freedom rock. So we'll do some freedom rock for the kids out there. Everything for the kids. This is "Got to Get Better in a Little While" from Eric Clapton. Don't you know what's wrong with me? I'm seeing things I don't want to see, sniffing things that ain't no good for me. I'm going down fast, won't you say a prayer for me? Got to get better in a little while. 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 The sun's got to shine on my guitar someday. Revolution across the land. just like Sly, you gotta make a stand. But don't hurt nobody, don't knock them down. Just give them a helping hand to get off the ground. Got to get better in a little while. 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 The sun's got to shine on my guitar someday. Still one thing that you can do, that's fall down on your knees and pray. I know the Lord is gonna answer you, so don't do it tomorrow, do it today. Got to get better in a little while. 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 The sun's gonna shine on my guitar someday. And that's how that's done. Good for your soul and good for your a little bit of freedom rock from early Eric Clapton. Early Eric Clapton is the best kind of Clapton for me. A lot of people don't know this, or at least recently it's been brought to my attention, I should say. A lot of people don't know how Eric Clapton actually got the nickname Slow Hand. He got the nickname Slow Hand because back in the day, he used to break a lot of strings on stage. And so he would have to replace them because this is back before he was Eric Clapton, so he didn't have guitar techs. It was you know, the band, your whatever acts you were bringing, and a dream. So he had to replace his own strings on stage. And while he was doing that, the audience would give him a low, a classic, like the Joker, a slow clap. And so that's how he got the nickname Slow Hand, because of all the people slow hand clapping at him. yet another reason to tune into Musical Hangout, because I have nothing to do with this trivia, but share it with the people out there. Knowledge is power. You learn something new every day. And speaking of something new, this is a song that I literally came up with, I think, Sunday night. And it's a good thing yesterday I didn't have to work. So the holiday, so I was able to kind of hash it out. It's kind of a nice little vibe. Got the chorus effect here and some delay. I'm tentatively calling it, apparently I suck at naming instrumentals, I'm now realizing. I'm tentatively calling it The Secret Behind the Church, because it's meant to invoke that secret behind the church that you think nobody knows about, but a few of us know about. So let's get to it. That's how we do it. Gotta put on my glasses to read the Instagram comment here, because I'm an old lad. Yes. It's a positive comment about the new song. Good, because that went better than I thought it was going to go. I'm not going to lie, for a brand spanking new song. It was a bit of a live rehearsal, but we're not afraid. I'm not afraid. Only babies are afraid. That's why I don't play video games. Video games are for children. That's also why I'm not going to watch that new Scooby-Doo cartoon. Not because I don't like Scooby-Doo, but because cartoons are for children. Okay. Speaking of new songs, here's another new song. I did this a couple weeks ago, and it felt, doggone it, it just felt so right. You know, it's a nasty song. I still am calling it Beatnik Trousers. The general consensus out there is that people like the song title Beatnik Trousers, but not for this song. And that's a shame. But we'll figure it out one of these days. And then the backing track is new for this as well. It's got some bass guitar work by yours truly. And I revamped a bit of the keys part. So we'll see how this goes. Yes. Yes. That is the word I'm looking for. Beatnik Trousers. Brand spanking new. Fiery hot. Yeah, I'm not wild about the name. Because the nice thing about if I don't name it Beatnik Trousers is that I have a perfectly great song title just waiting for a song in Beatnik Trousers. But we'll think. I'm thinking of something like unforgiving or unrelenting terror. You know, adjectives you would see on. Does anybody remember those Universal Monster posters? You know, you see something like that. Witness, unrelenting terror, unforgiving nightmares. Oh, unforgiving nightmare. Maybe that. You know, something because it's just 4.5 minutes of just straight punishment. One day I prayed to the Lord. I said, Lord, I know that you blessed Jimmy Page with all of the guitar riffs known to man, and whatever left over you gave to Jeff Beck and Eric Johnson and Eddie Van Halen. But if you have any, please give them to me. And Lord answered prayers and gave me that song I call Beatnik Trousers. Come on, somebody. This is my testimony. Speaking of cool riffs, we'll do one from my instrumental record now. I'll give you a break from the new stuff. This is a song called, I do it all the time here or whenever I do an electric set at this point with Musical Hangout because doggone it, I like it. It's a lot of fun. It gives me a chance to, and I've never played it. Fun fact, I've played it on this guitar during rehearsal times, but I've never played it on a Strat-style guitar. It's always done on the Les Paul or the Telecaster, but we're going to see how it goes. It could be fun. We're pioneers. We're explorers here. There is love in space, among other things. Okay. How you doing out there in TV land? You doing okay? It's been particularly moist in my neck of the woods, and don't much care for it. You seen any good movies lately? I watched a lot of good movies. I finally watched The Burbs the other night. Formative years for Tom Hanks. Does anybody remember The Burbs? Carrie Fisher's in it. Tom Hanks. Bruce Dern. Great Bruce Dern performance. Love Bruce Dern. Bruce Dern did a couple of weird films in the 60s, I believe. He did one of that. He was even in an acid film. Folks, acid films. Does anybody know anything about acid films? Was everybody on drugs in the 1960s? You know, because, like, there were a few of them out there. I mean, the one I remember in particular with Bruce Dern in it is a movie called The Trip, where a guy does acid. Actually, I think he might even have gotten dosed non-consensually with acid. And he has, the entire movie is him going through his drug trip, and he falls in love at the end of it. And so as a young man, I was under the impression that if you took acid, you would find the love of your life. You know, and I don't think that was the intention of the film, but it is what happened, and I believe it's Bruce Dern. Now I'm starting to second guess myself, but you know, there's weird things. You know, like growing up in the church, you know, young guys and girls, we were taught that, you know, the minute we turned 19, our Proverbs 31 woman would show up, and you know, we would live happily ever after. So it goes to show you, everybody lies, I guess. I don't know where I was going with that, but it was an interesting little tidbit. Feeling very Irish as well. I watched that movie Banshees of Inisherin with Colin Farrell. Also watched The Lobster with Colin Farrell by that Yorgos Lanthimos guy. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, so I just mumbled it there. I've seen now 3 of his pictures. Dogtooth. Don't watch Dogtooth unless you're tough. The Lobster. And then Killing of a Sacred Deer. I'm a fan of all 3 of those movies. Much like disturbing movies, I'm also a fan of Jimi Hendrix. So we're going to do some Jimi Hendrix. We're going to do a little bit of that Villanova Junction that I love so much. Yes, indeed. We love Jimi Hendrix. We love it. Villanova Junction Blues. I believe he did that for the first time at Woodstock. My Jimi Hendrix knowledge has faded over the years. Maybe it's fainted. I don't know. I'm a little tired. I'm lying. But I believe that's where he first did that. He's recorded it. Well, he did record it, God rest his soul, like 800 times, which is great because now the Jimi Hendrix estate can release a recording of Villanova Junction and whatever outtakes they have every couple of years to get a little bit of money. It's great. And suckers like me, schmucks like me, we eat it up. Because we love Hendrix and we love the music. Okay. We'll do a little bit of Chris Isaak for you. I haven't done this one in a while. We'll see how it goes. Kind of hard to sing. Not the best singer. We'll see what happens. The world was on fire and no one could save me but you. It's strange what desire makes foolish people do. I never dreamed I'd meet somebody like you, and I never thought I'd lose somebody like you. No, I don't wanna fall in love. No, I don't wanna fall in love with you. What a wicked thing to do, to let me dream of you. What a wicked game to play, to let me feel this way. What a wicked thing to say, you never felt this way. What a wicked game to play, let me dream of you. No, I don't wanna fall in love. No, I don't wanna fall in love with you. World was on fire and no one could save me but you. It's strange what desire makes foolish people do. I never thought I'd meet somebody like you, and I never thought I'd lose somebody like you. No, I don't wanna fall in love. No, I don't wanna fall in love with you. Nobody love no one. That hits you right here in the heart, doesn't it? Tunes like that. That's one of those songs that plays in the back of your head, isn't it? You know, when you, well, if you're like me and you see an attractive young lady sometimes, and you're in the back of your head, you're like, hey, that looks pretty good. Let me see if I can go get her phone number. And then your brain's like, remember that happened the last time? Because the background vocalist, that's kind of one of the spookier parts of the song, right? Is he's got these ladies in the background saying that girl is only gonna break your heart, and ain't that the truth? Chris Isaak, you either die of an overdose, have 8 divorces, or you live long enough to make a Christmas album. And Chris Isaak does have a Christmas album, which I did not enjoy this holiday season, because I just now realized that I didn't do that. Hey, you can't win them all. Speaking of dying of drug overdoses, actually, I don't think that happened to him. I don't think Jack Kerouac OD'd. But, be that as it may, this is a Jack Kerouac-inspired tune. It's a song called Desolation Angel, named after his book, Desolation Angels. It's a great book. It actually starts here in the Evergreen State, in Washington. He ascends from the mountains to discover the music of steam, of jazz, marijuana, and all sorts of hippie things. You know, it just makes you. You know, you read about these things and you wonder, was everybody in the olden times a monster? You know, it's we ask philosophical questions here in Musical Hangout. It helps with the songwriting. It does. Anyways, odd combination of Eric Johnson fused violin-esque guitar tones and the inebriated ramblings of Jack Kerouac give you this song, Desolation Angels. Desolation Angels. I'm getting better at playing with those fade outs. I threw those in there to keep me on my toes because I'm a fierce and mighty warrior in training. And you got to stay on your toes. Sometimes the song just ends. Sometimes it's better just to have a BLT. Can you dig it? So up until now, ladies and gentlemen and non-binaries, we have hinted at the music. We'll call it blues. But now we're going to dive straight in to another tune from my instrumental record called Zach's Blues. So we got this music. It's called blues. And it's a great music to listen to because it's cheaper than therapy. It's good for whatever ails you. Some of you got the I don't want to go outside because it's cold and rainy blues. I can dig that. Some of you got those, my church crush didn't see how many chairs I can carry after church and wouldn't go to Chick-fil-A with me on Monday because Chick-fil-A is closed on Sunday. Lord have mercy, I've been there. But you know, you can't stay down about it. Can you dig it? We're going to summon the ghosts of bluesmen past. Some Albert King. Maybe Albert Collins. The Ghosts of Albert Pass. And that is called Zach's Blues. Or in other words, how I learned to stop mourning the ghosts of bluesmen past. I don't know. And speaking of ghosts, we're going to do... so Jeff Beck died, which was very sad, because these guys keep dying on me before I get famous and can marry Dua Lipa and have access to all these guys. So I'm hoping that Jimmy Page doesn't croak over before I get famous. But be that as it may, Jeff Beck passed away at the age of 78. And so I would be a bad guitar player and guitar nerd if I didn't say a few words in memoriam of our fallen hero, Jeff Beck. Jeff Beck is one of those talents that, I mean, honestly, across musical or artistic, let's be broad here. Let's paint with a broad brush. Across artistic mediums, whether it's film, music, underwater basket weaving, there are talents like Jeff Beck, but they are extraordinarily rare. Jeff Beck could play just about anything. Anything. You know, it's kind of like Johnny Cash could sing about anything. Roy Orbison could definitely sing about anything. If Roy Orbison sang a song about a ham sandwich on rye, which is the least interesting thing I could think of, I would still be in tears. That's the power of Roy Orbison. So when it comes to guitar, Jeff Beck is like that. And if you think of any guitar player that you dig, even if you're not a guitar player like me, they list Jeff Beck as their favorite guitar player. If not, he's in the top 3. And, you know, that's saying something. You know, there was an attitude that he had about his instrument and the way he, with such confidence and swagger. There's a lot of swagger in these English guys with their guitar playing. It's staggering. But the sheer confidence and bravado, and it's just like, you kind of didn't know if he knew what he was up to, you know, if he was like breaking new sonic territory, or if he was just farting around like the rest of us, you know. And so, I mean, an example here is I'm going to do a Jeff Beck inspired, I did this a couple weeks ago on a stream. I'm going to do a Jeff Beck inspired version of A Day in the Life by the Beatles, because if you want to kind of hear what I'm talking about with Jeff Beck, his cover of that suffices, or Because We've Ended as Lovers, or the Jimmy Page produced, I believe, for his first album, Beck's Bolero. Again, wonderful guitar player, very lyrical with his guitar playing as well. His phrasing is dynamite. You can almost sing what he plays, and that's the true mark of a good guitar player. So we're going to summon the ghost of Jeff Beck, at least for a little bit here, while I do a Jeff Beck-esque, because I don't know a whole lot of Jeff Beck licks, version of A Day in the Life. This guitar's trim system really floats. My goodness, time flies when you're having fun. It's about time for me to wrap it up here. But of course, I'll be back here on the 24th doing some singer-songwriter stuff for those of you who think my guitar playing sucks. So that'll be the 24th of January for an acoustic set. I'm going to take a deep dive. Going to look at what you folks are listening to on Spotify and things like that. And we'll play some of the hits, if you can call it that. So you won't want to miss that. I'm Zach Hval, reminding you that all things being equal, fat people use more soap. Bread is bread, cheese is cheese, praise God. So a priest, a minister, and a rabbi all want to see who's the best at their job. So they go into the woods and each decide to convert a bear. And so they meet up later, and the priest says, when I approached the bear, I read him a passage from Catechism and sprinkled some holy water on him, and his first communion is next week. The minister says, I found a bear by the stream, and when I preached God's holy word, he was so mesmerized that he let me baptize him. And then the priest and the minister look down at the rabbi, who's in a body cast lying in a gurney, and he says, looking back, starting with the circumcision probably wasn't the best move. Oh, that reminds me of another joke. Speaking of circumcision, did I ever tell you guys the one about I missed last week, so we'll give you a bonus joke. About the guy who comes home and sees his wife in spiked high heels and sexy lingerie. She just says, honey, you can